You fucking.
Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Echoes of the Past, the series where we uncover the remnants from forgotten worlds. In this episode, we'll be talking about the fearsome dragons. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Dragons? And zombies. I know, it's a little strange, but the dragons in this universe are as ancient as the Great War itself. Presumably. Possibly being related to, created by, or harnessed by the Apothicons, based on the Apothicon language that decorates the Dragon Strike. As we fast forward to 1942, the Battle of Stalingrad has reached a stalemate. The Russians have begun to steal Germany's advanced technology, reverse engineering it, and turning it against them, creating things such as the GKZ-45 Mark III, the Russian Mangler, or the Gigant, counters against Germany's ray gun, Panzersoldat, and German Giant, respectively. To try and bring this stalemate to an end, Group 935 tasked Division 9 with the task to resurrect an ancient dragon, after Division 9 had uncovered their fossils. In the Deceptio Fracture and original timeline, Division 9 would seemingly never finish the resurrection process, or perhaps never began. But in the Predition Fracture and Agonia Fracture, they did. When Primus was on Division 9's island facility in search of this dimension's Takeo, they find themselves in a room littered with hatched eggs, blueprints, and incubating pods for these ferocious beasts. And it wouldn't be until they ventured to the Agonia Fracture where they'd finally see the culmination of their work. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. After Division 9 finished the resurrection upon the dragons, Group 935 would create a control collar for the beasts, allowing some semblance of control. To further assist in controlling the dragons, they were made to be asexual, as to prevent temptation to any urges and unwanted breeding. And so, the dragons were unleashed upon the city of Stalingrad, scorching the city effortlessly, bringing the city to a fiery damnation. The stalemate was finally beginning to decline. Except now, Stalingrad remained abandoned. Its only inhabitants now were fierce dragons, skyscraper-sized automatons, and masses of the undead, caused by Group 935 dispensing a gaseous form of 115 upon the city. There was one survivor, however, Nikolai Belinsky, who was operating his Manticore. Which, speaking of, when the dragons were unleashed upon the city, the Russians were forced to work quick in finding a means to bring their scaled opponents down to the ground. The Manticores were modified to suit their new ferocious foes, an Element 115-powered lance known as the Ascalon Lance. It was the only weapon capable of piercing through its thick flesh, granting the Russians a proper chance against them. And it would prove valuable to Primus when they arrived to this dimension, assisting this dimension's Nikolai in his battle against a particular dragon who's been tormenting his city, one who no longer wears its collar. Alright, hello. Hi. So I tried, alright? I tried to get the footage on this fight several times, but there's been a plethora of problems while trying to make this video that have been dragging me down to the depths of despair. So, you get to enjoy my recreation of the boss fight. Enjoy.
Nikolai, we could really use your help.
My help? Do you not see the big fucking dragon tormenting me?
My ribs! Don't worry, Nikolai. I can help you. Why do I sound like Igor?
This is the worst video I've ever made. With the dragon defeated and Nikolai also defeated, Gorod Krovi will be the last time we see a proper dragon. But what of the other types? Well, there isn't much, but let's discuss them anyway. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the Dragon Strike was a tool developed by Group 935, essentially a radio device to call in an artillery strike where you desired. Using a special fragment of 115, I presume, you would provide the coordinates for a dragon to barrage with flames, which for some reason attracted zombies into its blast zone. A very useful tool. The Guard of Fafnir. Named after a dragon in Norse mythology, this shield provided protection from dragon fire when held, and could also shoot gusts of flames. Like the Dragon Strike before it, the Guard of Fafnir could be upgraded. Dragon Wings. While Shadows of Evil was the first to introduce mini upgrades to the player via hidden accessories, Gorod Krovi is what really introduced it. Now, every guide, and even my own experience, has said that you need to ride every dragon to the Pack-a-Punch at least once in order to unlock access to these wings. But there's been times where I've done it more than 6 times and nothing's happened. Anywho, the dragon wings provide 30% resistance to fire damage and explosive damage. It also removes the cost of summoning the dragon that could transport you to Pap. Or if you'd rather not watch the animation and save yourself time, there are these little antenna things with dragon wings on them. Interacting with them will teleport you to the house immediately. And finally, but definitely not least, the Gauntlet of Siegfried. Named after an individual who appears in both Norse and Germanic mythologies, it is said he slayed the dragon Fafnir. In Zombies, however, the gauntlet brings you a small friend. With this, you can spew flames like a flamethrower, if it's sitting on your wrist, however. But sending it out into battle, it will shoot out fireballs and retrieve power-ups or objects. Sending the dragon out leaves your hand free, allowing you to punch across a great distance, pushing zombies out of your way. If you put the gauntlet away without calling for your friend, then the charge will deplete until it's completely empty. So, if you wish to conserve some of your charge, call them back before putting away your gauntlet. You can also melee with the dragon on your wrist, but you won't launch across the area. You simply punch faster, with the little dragon assisting you by sending out little bites. Well, I did say finally, but that's every dragon related in Goro Krovi. We still have 2 more mentions. Before our first introduction to a proper dragon, we'd encounter these stone-carved statues of dragons across Eagle's Nest, also known as Dreisendrache. When a zombie is killed in front of the statue, the stone crumbles down, revealing the head of a real, fire-breathing dragon. Primus would feed these dragons enough sustenance before the dragon disappeared. When all 3 were fed, Primus would gain access to the Wrath of the Ancients. But we're not here to discuss that weapon today. Interestingly enough, the small stone replicas of the dragons above the Wrath of the Ancients are in Cold War via an artifact. These don't appear anywhere in the game, so it's interesting that these make an appearance at all. But since we've mentioned Cold War, let's not forget about their current last appearance. In Black Ops Cold War's Outbreak mode, Requiem and Omega operators could come across a strange rocket. When the rocket is activated, the head of a dragon slithers out, creating a ring of purple flames. Essentially, this is your killing circle. Killing zombies in the circle would be absorbed into the dragon's mouth, where he'd feed on their essence. It's worth noting that unlike the Cerberus head from Mob of the Dead and Blood of the Dead, and the dragon head from Dreisendrache, you don't need to wait for the dragon to finish eating. You could just kill as many zombies as you please as long as they are in the circle. Once the timer is up, depending on how much essence is in the canisters, you will be given a reward, a golden chest being the best reward you could obtain. Meanwhile, with the rocket, it would launch into the sky, entering through a Dark Ether rift. The essence you provided it would become food for the Forsaken. This dragon rocket would reappear in the map Forsaken, and in order to get to it, you need to obtain a arcade token, which a zombie can randomly drop. Bring the token to the arcade and walk up to the Dreisendrache pinball machine. No, I do not know the lore implications of this. When the coin is inserted into the machine, you will be warped to the top of the facility, doing the same thing you would do to the dragon rocket in Outbreak. And as of now, that's every current appearance on the dragons in Call of Duty Zombies. I'm sorry for this video being all over the place. I really did try to get the footage required for these things. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Come in. Jaeger, what brings you back to my office?
Yes, Gorev. I have been given reports of a new entity in the Outbreak zones. Reports of a dragon.
Interesting. I'll report.
Dragon these nuts across your face!